having these little bits of texture mixed in with everything, especially when you're doing like electronic music, it really puts things in a sort of zone, a way for people to connect to it without them really even understanding why they're connecting to it.
Yeah. This episode is being supported by Tape It. If you currently use voice notes to record your ideas, you should try Tape It instead.
It just felt like a moment where we were just me and her, just sort of escaping from everything, all the heavy stuff for a moment. It was really, really good. Really incredible moment. And I recorded the sound of her ice skating, which you hear in the middle of the track in the sort of breakdown. So I've recorded it on my phone, and you can hear, her sort of like moving around and coming past me.
Did you process that in any way, or is that
let's look.
raw and exactly as it was, or?
I've had to roll sub bass off it. I've put some compression on it because it had some mad spikes. Oh, and I've used this plugin called Microshift on it, which makes things sound more sort of three-dimensional. I think it puts a little delay on them between your two speakers. I think that's what it does. Microshift Sound Toys. So I've put that on, and that makes it just sound more stereo.
And so you had the ice skating experience. You'd already been playing that guitar line in the morning, you said. So then did you pick up the guitar again, or had you recorded what you had done?
So I recorded the guitar. This is where the whole thing starts to turn into a semi-technical nightmare for myself that then went on for a while, which was like the guitar's not really in time with anything too much. So I recorded it. So I made this drum beat, which is like an old drum break from a record combined with a more subby kick, and I've added a little clap to it. Yeah, I've just added these things, really, really a basic thing. I had that as a placeholder. Maybe I recorded the guitar to that, or at least to a click track of some sort, but it was very, very loose. And I had this thing with these guitar harmonics. But as you can see, I've had to chop everything an enormous amount of time to get it all sitting with the groove right on the drums, So I think I will have been working on it and having it quite loose for ages, but then I've been this is really, really messy and amateurish. I need to get the timing right. So I had these parts, guitar, harmonics, and then with the drums, what is that? So once I had those things, I was like, all right, this is my sort of starting point. And I've got the ice skating idea and everything. And then I was like, all right, well, if you had this as your first initial riff or whatever, what's going to happen? And I was like, I need a bass line of some sort, and I want another melodic idea. So the bass is, how do I make the bass? The bass is just done on Omnisphere, which is the main synth plugin I use for absolutely everything. I cannot remember how well have I done this. I do have a little MIDI keyboard, but I can't see it. The velocity is the same on everything, so I think I will have just drawn this in. And then I've doubled it up with a belt sound, but it's just a double to make the bass pop out a little bit more. I'll often add another instrument doing exactly the same line so that you can sort of hear it in the mix. So there's this bell combined with the bass, which just makes the notes stick out a little bit more when you've got you can't really hear the bell too much. It's quite sort of subliminal, but without it, it's burying the bass more in the mix,
And do you have to tweak those individual sounds? Do you have to adjust them?
I pretty much only use presets on things. Yeah. I don't really mess with. Basically, I'll get a sound. I'll get the melody, the notes I want, and then I'll get it up and running, and then I'll just cycle through. I'll just on Omnisphere. I'll be like, all right, what are the bass sounds? And I'll just cycle through loads and loads of them one after another until I find one that's quite nice. So they've got this area synth bass, and the one I've used is called Plectra Sub. So it's P. I must have cycled through, they're in alphabetical order, I must have cycled through hundreds before I chose that. And I'll just choose a preset and that'll be it.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not doing any sound design type of stuff particularly on any of my things.
Yeah.
Definitely not one of those people that's like, I'm going to start with a sine wave and now I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I don't really mess with any fundamental stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Usually because I'm just sort of in a rush.
This episode is being supported by our good friends at Tape It, the iPhone app made specifically for musicians. If you, like many of our guests, use voice memos, then as far as we're concerned, switching to Tape It is an obvious choice. It's free, and there are a load of features you won't find on Apple's Voice Memos app, including the ability to record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, include photos of settings, and you can easily import your old voice notes, sync to the cloud, and create shared playlists with co-writers and bandmates. So head to the link below to install the app now. And if you want even more, check out Tape It Pro and use the promo code TAPENOTES to receive a whopping 50% off. And now, back to the episode.
The thing for me that I'm like, when I stumbled across it, I think combined with the skating and everything that happened, I was like, all right, this is actually going to work as a track. It's a way of doing things that I do quite a lot, which is to come up with a melodic idea and then just have it happen exactly the same notes, but with 3 different instruments. So you first hear it on this more delicate sound. So you get a sort of hint of the melodic idea sitting there, and then it's just emphasized just by adding exactly the same melody, but with another instrument over the top. And then when this higher version comes in, after that's done, you then hear the melody again, but played by another instrument starts fading in. And this one is like a voice. So this is done just by taking the same MIDI notes and just trying loads and loads of different presets on all of them. And I've landed on these 3 that fit together. And then I've got the texture of the ice skating and everything is the thing that's going to sort of humanize all this thing from real life that's going to combine with this. So if I have a melodic idea that I think conveys the right sort of feeling that I'm trying to get across, so that's it. That's the element. I think the bass part's very just sort of functional to just sort of like hold it all together and sort of play along with the guitar. So it's just sort of like the bass and the guitar, the drums, and then this melodic idea, and those are my parts. So I landed on those parts, and then it's like, all right, what's the arrangement?
Absolutely fascinating. Maybe we should hear kind of somewhere near the end of the track to round things off.
Yeah, the breakdown. There's a sort of like breakdown, and the same as Daydream Repeat, like the idea of having a breakdown where it all sort of, like this is the bit where it breaks down and reveals the ice skating sound, you know? It's like I want the melody and the groove of it all to be sort of here, and then the ice skating and the humans and all the people and stuff are sort of like echoes around in the sort of distance around you, and have that sort of subliminal effect of like, all right, you're really engaged with the melody and the sounds and everything, but there's an atmosphere there that makes it all, puts it in a sort of world. And so I use a lot of things like that, where there's little quiet echoey bits of vocals and noises and little things happening all the time combined with everything else. Like even with the Fridge stuff, we used to do things where I think there's this song Angle Poised, which is like really, really long. It's like an 808 drum machine and bass guitar, and then we were playing like Nintendo or something in like some downtime, and we just ran a microphone in the room while we were playing like computer games and chatting, and we would just have that quietly in the mix with like a delay on it or something. And I sort of learned early on that having these little bits of texture mixed in with everything actually put things in in a world, especially when you're doing like electronic music. It really puts things in a sort of zone that is a great device and for giving something a way for people to connect to it without them really even understanding why they're connecting to it.
Yeah.